Every altar where Mass is celebrated will likely have a relic. So, how are they classified and how does the church acquire them? What happens to relics in abandoned churches? Hi, and welcome to another video. Relics are part of the body or material fragments associated with saints or blessings, holy men and women who Catholics venerate. Most people say you have to worship God in spirit and in truth, and that is true. They therefore say spirit means you can't worship God with any physical things or objects, which is untrue. In the sacraments, God uses physical things many times to communicate to us spiritual realities. Take, for example, baptism. The waters of baptism communicate rebirth to us through the power of God. In the Eucharist, God uses bread and wine to give us His graces. In the anointing of the sick, we use sacred oils, as said in James 5, verses 14. So, how are relics classified? Relics are divided into three classes, depending on how closely linked they are to the saint's life. They are first-class relics. These are the literal body of the saint or any relics from the life of Christ Himself. Then there are second-class relics. These are those which are used regularly in the life of the saint. And then finally we have third-class relics. These are objects which came into contact with a higher-class relic and relatively have a distant connection to the saint's life. Every Catholic church will have at least one relic in its main altar, and that is the relic of a martyr or a saint. Canon 1237 states, the ancient tradition of placing a relic of a martyr or a saint in a fixed altar must be preserved, according to the norms given in the liturgical books. But what is this ancient tradition? When early Christian churches were built, it was on the remains of early Christian martyrs and saints who were buried in the catacombs. The relics were as much a part of the church as the building itself. Now, some will say this is superstitious, but God in history has worked through these things. It is also biblical. In 2 Kings 2, verses 13, God worked miracles through the mantle of Elijah, a holy person. In 2 Kings 13, verses 21, God worked miracles through the bones of Elisha. Acts 19, verses 11 to 12, states that the handkerchiefs which were placed on Paul, when taken to the sick, people were healed. Those who had unclean spirits or demons actually had those demons depart from them. Now, how do churches acquire relics? Suppose a diocese is building a new parish church and wants a relic for its altar. Maybe the church is dedicated to a saint, or a person just wants a relic. The requester would need to let the bishop of their diocese know about this. The bishop then has the official administrative office, the chancery, reach out to the Vatican for the relic. Then, what happens to relics in abandoned churches? A good number of churches today are in decline because of fewer mass attendants and fewer priests to serve, which means buildings are being sold and churches are merging. When this happens, the relic must be disposed of properly. That decision is made by the diocesan bishop. Those in charge must contact the diocesan bishop as to what is the best place or use for the relic. Most likely, these relics will end up in a newly merged church or in a church nearby. Many of the early Christians believed this, and they sum it up perfectly in the quote of St. Jerome. Well, it is true. We Christians refuse to worship or adore any of the relics of the martyrs, but even the sun and the moon, the angels and the archangels. For we may not serve the creature rather than the Creator. Still, we honor the relics of the martyrs so that we may adore Him, whose martyrs they are. We honor the servants so that their honor may be reflected upon the Lord. That's St. Jerome in the 4th century. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot and it helps the message reach more people. Now, if you're interested in another video and you're passionate about the Lord, click on the video up there and I'll catch you on the other side.